everyone. Welcome to, I don't even know if we just started recording. Let's see. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Out. I am here with my good friend, Nicole Spence. Tell them about yourself. Tell them where you from. Tell them, everything about you.
Woo. Okay, so sorry for the background noise. We got a little outside action here. I am actually born in America. Not a lot of people know that, but I grew up in Jamaica for like a part of my life, and then there's like been a whole bunch of back and forth until I finally settled here in Florida. So that's how that works.
Awesome. So what is it that you do? Tell them if you want to tell them how old you are, or like just a little.
Okay, so I'm 23. Well, about to be 23 this year. And I don't do much other than work right now. I'm a security guard right now. Just recently got out of the Army. Yeah, so that's
it. Awesome. So let's get into what we usually do and what I've been sleeping on. But we're going to have it at the beginning of each episode now. Last episode, okay. I did it at the end because I totally forgot. But anyways, it's called Playlist Fire or hashtag Playlist Fire or hashtag put it on your playlist. It's like a hot fire song that you just have to have added to your playlist because it's just that good. So what is your song recommendation? Hashtag
My
Fire.
Song recommendation is Peace of Mind by Lauryn Hill. Everyone that I know needs to listen to this song. It brought me through a lot. No, honestly, and I've recommended it to people and it's helped them. And this song is not for the weak-hearted. It is not for you to play it just anywhere. This is one of those, okay, let me listen to it by myself alone first because it might just have you in tears. But it's a raw, a lot of raw emotion in that song and a lot of words that I think are gonna hit home.
I definitely agree 100%. Anything by Lauryn is Playlist Fire, but this particular song, you ain't lying. You ain't lying at all. So tell them a little bit about how we met, where we met, like what that was like.
We met at church, and it was like, you were really shy. You were really shy, really quiet. But I think we hit it off almost instantly. It was just one of those things, and you've always been like such a genuine, pure soul, and it's just like a blessing to have you as a friend. Yes, girl, don't get me emotional. It's a blessing to have you as a friend and in my life. Honestly, I can't think of a time that you haven't been there. We don't talk often. But somehow we're always connected, and that's real friendship. And the moments that matter, you're always there. So I appreciate that, and God bless the day that you became my friend, and even Mom. She's my second mother. Y'all literally have been there through it all. My graduation from high school, you were there, like a sister, everything. Just, it's amazing to look back at it now. But I don't know, many more years to come, forever to go, forever.
Amen. Honestly, same here, sis. I appreciate you and your support and, your friendship, and just hoping and wishing for a lifetime of it. And, just your understanding that sometimes, even though we don't talk all the time, every time we reconnect, is back to what it was. And
exactly.
That initial bond and connection never dies, never wavers. And so I appreciate you. And, the whole family, your mom has shown me so much love, and always just, treated me with such kindness, and, the broski. Love
Yes.
the whole family. Honestly, love the whole family. Love you and appreciate it. All that you, just the friendship and the connection. So,
For
yeah.
sure.
So, you were born here in America, but part of
Mm-hmm.
your upbringing was in Jamaica. What was that
Yes.
like?
Honestly, I thank God for it. Like, I am so glad that I had experiences that most Americans haven't. I can honestly say I know what it's like to, like, how do I put this? I know what it's like to not have, um, I lived pretty well in Jamaica, but I want to say, just not have everything handed to me, not be so privileged, or not be able to understand the struggles of other people, or you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raised spoiled in the sense that, um, being from, for example, you know how it is, Caribbean household, and the child that's born in America, raised in America, and just is completely clueless to life in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? So thankfully, that's not me. I can honestly say I had the experience. I had the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I wasn't just raised on, games and, stuff like that. Like, I actually got to go outside and use a stick and roll a tire, you know what
Yeah.
it is. So, I actually got to enjoy that and wait for the ice cream man to come on his bike on Sundays. And it was a great experience, honestly. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I thank God that I got that opportunity.
Honestly, yeah, you just said it all. Honestly, the best of both worlds is the best way to put it. Like
Mm-hmm.
having a upbringing in the Caribbean and coming here to America later on in life, it just gives you a new sense of appreciation for what America can do for you. But
Yeah.
that foundational Caribbean upbringing
Mhm.
ain't nothing.
And having the culture embedded early,
Mm-hmm.
instead of being older and then having to try to learn the culture or trying to implement yourself when you don't even really feel you belong to the culture. No, I am Jamaican. I don't even tell nobody. That's what I'm telling you. A lot of people don't know I was born here. They're like, you're Jamaican to the bone. Yeah, because that's how I
Mm-hmm.
was raised. So,
I definitely get that. I definitely get that. So, what made you want to join the Army Reserve? Like, what made you want to join the
um,
Army? Was it always an ambition of yours, or something that later came?
you know, subconsciously, I think it was always kind of there in my mind. But I always fought it. I was like, I am not joining the military. That's not for me. But my sister actually was um in the Army Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
She made it up to, I think, captain, and so that was there. Um I'm tough. I'm cut from pretty tough cloth, So it's just like I said, I feel like subconsciously it was there. I did ROTC when I was in high school. I did really well with it, and that's when I took the ASVAB. So it happened that I went off to college, and I was going through a lot, honestly. Family issues, financial issues. And I ended up coming back home, didn't finish school at the time, came back home, and I'm not the type of person that can just sit still for too long. I was trying to get jobs, but I was young. I was 18? And because when I went to school, I just turned 18. Like I always kind of was younger than everyone else. While everybody else was already 18, I was 17. So basically, yeah, I came back home. I couldn't get a job because I had no experience. And I was just like, how am I supposed to get experience? I'm basically still fresh out of high school. You know, I don't know how I'm going to get a job if you won't hire me. I got frustrated and I was just like, you know what? I can't sit here like and just not do anything. So it came down to it. I went to the recruiter that he used to come to my school, and I said to him, hey, can you see if my ASVAB score is still valid? I heard it's valid for a certain amount of time. And when he checked it, I had walked in right at the moment where it was like a month left for my ASVAB score to be valid. Yeah. So he was like, oh, well, you got 1 month before you're gonna have to take it all over again. And you got a pretty high score. Like I had a 78, I think, on it or something like that, which is a really good score. And he was just like, yeah, you might wanna, you know, jump on this. Of course, recruiters do what recruiters do. And I said, you know, forget it. I'm gonna do it. And I'm the type of person, I'll sit down and I'll kind of think about things for a long time. But when my mind is made up and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. You know, like there's no more thinking to be done. So I just made the decision in a split second. Mom was definitely not happy about it at all. She didn't want me to go, but I knew within myself, like I was sitting there thinking, while I was in college, I was up there struggling financially. My mom was, you know, down here in South Florida struggling financially. And I was just like, both of us shouldn't be struggling separately. Then when I came home, I realized I was trying to get a job and I couldn't help. And I felt like I was more of a burden than I was helping. So then I was like, nah, I have to find a way to help me and help her at the same time, you know? So that's really what propelled me to make my decision. I felt like I needed to be in a position to help her and not the other way around, you know?
That's amazing. That's so very selfless of you and just speaks to you as a daughter. Honestly, it does. It does. So, what does the ASVAB stand for?
I don't remember. I don't want to tell you that I remember because I don't. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So, what was basic training like? Like, what was the entire experience? Is it as difficult as it sounds? Like,
honestly, physically, I don't want to say that it was difficult. It wasn't as bad as I expected, honestly. But it's a mental game. It's a mental thing. And I'm kind of how do I put it? Especially at that time, I'm a very like, you know, tough, like nonchalant at times. Like, okay, whatever. I've been through worse than this, you know. And honestly, my upbringing helped me during training. I'm talking about they would walk in there and just start yelling, and I would be up because hey, I'm used to it, you know. Like Ma comes in the room and it's just like, all right, 1, 2, we got to get up, we got to do what we got to do. So, you know, my upbringing actually made it easy. I'm not gonna say it wasn't, like I said, mentally, it was something that, all right, how do I put this? They basically try to break down your ways of living and thinking and I call it reprogramming, right? And I wasn't so easy to break. So they targeted me. Well, this one particular drill sergeant, she targeted me because I didn't break easy, you know, and she didn't, I guess she wasn't messing with that. So she was on my behind, you know, so that made it a little more difficult. And because of that as well, like all the females would basically kiss up to her, you know, because they wanted to be on her good side. And I was just not with it. So she basically turned all the females on me. So not only did I have to deal with the training during the day, but then I had to deal with the girls just treating me like crap. And you know, I'm a little hot-headed. So it was very difficult for me. I was trying to restrain myself. And I'm gonna tell y'all a story, guys. Yes. I ended up popping one of them little girls. I did.
Yes, Def, tell that story.
I did. I couldn't take it anymore. Okay. Like one day I came in and I was just minding my business. I was on my bunk and I wasn't bothering anybody. And this girl was just, you know, she was just talking mess. And I was just like, I sat there and I contemplated with myself. And I was like, Nicole, you can't do this. I'm doing, like, you know, the only thing that kept me going, honestly, my mom. She was sending me letters with scriptures, and she kept beating in my head, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And the moments where I had it the toughest, like I'm talking about, I walked around with her letters in my pocket, you know, and when I had those little, she doesn't even know this, but when I had those really tough moments, I would pull her letters out, or, you know, where her and my little brother would write to me, and I would read them, and it gave me what I needed to keep going. And I was sitting there just thinking, like, girl, you can't disappoint your mom. You can't come here and not, you know, finish, because if you pop this little girl, you're gonna go home.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there and I tried, okay? But it just got worse and worse. And I just got up. I don't know what happened. I just got up and I popped her. Like, I just, boop, just, you know, maybe a couple more times than that. And, you know, I had enough. And after it happened, I stopped and I ran to the bathroom and I sat in the stall. And I was just like, oh my God, girl. Like, why did you do that? You done did it now. You about to get kicked out. What are you gonna tell your mother? And I went, you know, they called me downstairs and I ended up getting in trouble. But all they did, they moved me from that platoon to another one. Mm-hmm. So I flourished in the other one because the issue wasn't me. You know, it was the drill sergeant, and it was the girls. So I feel like it was supposed to happen that way, you know, because if that never happened, I would have never got moved, and I would have been stuck in a situation where I was being bullied. So, yeah, everything happens for a reason.
It and really does.
I finished up my training. My mom was even like, honestly, I had a new respect for you because I didn't even know you were that strong. And I was just like, what? Like, you raised me. How do you not know how strong I am? But I kind of understand what she meant, you know, like we had been going through so much and she just never realized how strong I was. You know, I didn't realize how strong I was. And that's really all basic training was about, pushing your limits mentally and physically. Mm. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that with us. OMG. But I know how you are, because it takes a lot to get you to that place. And yes, like once you get quiet, like I know what it is. Honestly, I've been around you enough to know what it is. Like, it takes a lot. You will hold it in.
And then I'll explode, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she had that pop-off coming for a long time.
Okay, I'm just... Man.
And sometimes popping off change your life. Because look, next platoon.
Exactly.
Thriving in the basic training. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. But like, what was the physical part like? Like, I know you said it wasn't as hard for you, but what does it entail? And
it was just running. We did PT every morning, 6 a.m. Like getting up. All right, so it was the getting up early for you know, making it on time for formation. Listen to me. I am late to everything. I am late to my life, okay? And to literally have to get up with all these other females, get ready, make it downstairs in record time, stand in formation, it's just running work. They have like workout plans. They have drills that they do. It's conditioning. Like, if you've ever done any sport or whatever, and, you have the initial process where you're doing conditioning, it's the same thing, really. It's not difficult. It's just that you got people yelling at you and doing all this extra stuff and trying to teach you how to like move as a unit as opposed to moving as an individual, getting in trouble for getting smoked, what they call smoked, which is basically when you have to do exercises or push-ups or whatever as a punishment. 9 times out of 10, it's because of something someone else did, so it's just that it wasn't really, that's why I say I did track when I was in high school, so it wasn't much different. Wherever you're lacking, if you push yourself in there, you'll do it, physically. Like, if you just have the willpower and push yourself, you can literally watch yourself transform. Like, when I got there, my run time was terrible. Yeah, even though I did track. But my run time was terrible. I didn't run 2 miles. What? Like, that was not my thing, So, and I prayed. I think I got really close to God during that time because I had nothing else, like there was no other choice. I had no other strength but that. I was running, I think 20 minutes for my 2 mile. Like, it wasn't a really good time. And I literally watched over time because it came down to it where they're like, okay, you have to pass this test. You have to pass this, you have to pass that, or else you're going to get kicked. You're going to get booted. And I just knew within myself going home was not an option. And especially not for a physical reason. You know what I mean? Because I knew I could do it. And so it was just applying myself, whatever they were trying to teach me, whatever workouts that we were doing every day, it was really not cheating myself, because there'd be people to the left and right of me who weren't really putting in the work. Like, as soon as the sergeant's back was turned, they wouldn't be doing the exercise or whatever. But I knew I had to have discipline, and I had to do it if I wanted to see the results. And the results did come, So, and other than that, what do we do? Every day, every week was like a different objective. I do remember we had this thing called Nick at Night, where we have to learn we were crawling under barbed wire while live rounds were being shot over our heads. Yeah. So it's like guns shooting, and we basically just had to learn how to, I'm sorry, these calls keep cutting us off. But I had to basically learn how to low crawl through like sand and dirt and, stuff like that, as well as we did a lot of obstacle courses, like team building activities, stuff like that. Other than that, it was just like walking around with your kit on, like your vest, and carrying your weapon, and, getting accustomed to not leaving your weapon anywhere ever. Yeah, so it was a lot of that, a lot of weight carrying mostly.
Oh, wow. And it was like a 6-week program?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or
I always knew you were mentally strong. I always knew you can do it. Even when you told me like, I wasn't afraid that you couldn't do it. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what if they do? And it was at that time where the election. Yeah, and I was like, we might enter into, like, who knows?
I know. My mom she was like, just wait till after the election. What are you doing? Why are you going now? And I just knew it was something. I went completely against my mother's wishes. Like, she literally didn't when I say she didn't want me to go, she was like, I was like, Ma, I need my birth certificate. And she was like, nah, So, but luckily I was 18 and I was able to go, and I literally had to do everything behind her back, but it was worth it, you know? And then it came to a point where she finally started to accept it, but it was because I told her I was going in as a, like some medical job in there, which I had the option to do, but me being the tomboy that I am, I was like, oh, let me take this technical job where I basically, which, okay, I didn't tell you, my job in the military was a radio technician, radio and ComSec, which is basically just communication security. So yeah, basically my job was to fix radios, and I loved my job, honestly. Like, I learned a lot, and I learned that I love to be technical. I like to fix things. So, but she wanted me to do medical. You know how it is, Caribbean. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going in there to do a medical thing. And then I changed my mind, and I'm doing this radio thing now. So it was just kind of like, I sprung it on her just so she could let me go. But she, eventually she got over it. So sometimes you have to just make a move, and, you know, if it feels right for you, like, do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's the thing about adulthood. And, you know, eventually sometimes the decisions that we make, our parents either, you know, they catch up with us, or they just never agree with us. But it's like, as adults, we have to.
But the thing is, everybody was imposing their fear on me, and I didn't have any fear. You know, like,
yeah, talk about it.
I didn't have it. I wish I could say that I was scared. I mean, the thought did cross my mind about the election and about what could be possible. Hi, how you doing? And I won't say it didn't cross my mind, but I just didn't. It wasn't enough. My goals were way more than my fear, you know. And so I just knew something had to give, and I had to try something. And if I didn't like it, I was like, well, I'm gonna find my way out, you know. But yeah, everybody was scared for me. They were like, oh my gosh, you're going in the Army. Why couldn't you go in the Navy? Because, you know, I have a cousin in the Navy. It was just like, why can't you go in the Navy? Why can't you go here? Why can't you do this? And I'm like, maybe I'm not a Navy girl. Maybe I'm not. I definitely don't like the idea of being on the ocean and not touching land for months. You know, if I was meant to be in the sea that long, God would have made me a fish or something. You know, that is not my, I'm good. I want to be on land. So that's why I chose the Army. But yeah, a lot of people were scared for me. I wasn't scared at all.
That's amazing. That is amazing. But what was the hardest part about living on base? Like, I know you mentioned the story about the girls and everything, and, you know, how that probably was a difficult part. Well, that's for part of training. But when you passed training and went to base, what was that like?
It had to be the isolation. I remember arriving to my permanent duty station, my first duty station, and I bawled. I was crying because I was up in the boondocks somewhere. I didn't have any reception on my cell phone. I didn't know not a soul. The barracks looked terrible, you know, like the living conditions. I was just like, ew, this is not my thing, you know? And I literally sat in my room and bawled because I was like, I'm gonna be stuck up here like by myself, you know, I have nobody. But eventually they moved me from where I initially was. That was just like a temporary barracks, and I thought it was permanent. Yeah, when I got there, I was crying because I was like, ew, I can't live like this. But no, they moved me, and eventually I settled in, but it had to be the isolation. Like, you're completely separated. All you know is what's on the base. You know what I mean? Like, well, at first for me, you know, eventually I ventured out and started, but where I was, and every base is different, you know, depending on their location. But where I was, Fort Drum, New York, it was very different, to say the least, you know. And it was a lot of how I put this. I'm from South Florida, and I'm not very used to. It's a lot of us, you know. It's a lot of us, and I had to adjust to there being more of them than there were of us, you know. And I was just like, yo, I saw Confederate flags everywhere, and I was just like, yo, I am going to die. What is up with these people? You know, I'm like, I don't even have to go overseas. Like, they're gonna kill me right here. But
I'm so done.
I literally I had to learn, you know, and live a different and be open. I had to be open.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So what then was, from a woman's perspective, as a woman in the Army, what would you say are some things that probably need to be adjusted for the benefit of women and possibly even just Black women in the Army? I know you kind of just alluded to that a little bit with, you know.
Okay, so hold on. There's a lot I could say about the gender roles in the military. For one, I was the only female in my class at my job training. So after I left basic training and I went to AIT, I was the only female in my class. And at first, my instructors didn't even pay attention to me. You know, they basically were just like, okay, she's not picking up on this. And remember, I told you, I entered a mostly male dominant job, you know, a fixer, ordnance. Like, there weren't a lot of females in ordnance. Literally, I think there was just like one building of females, and there were hardly, the building wasn't full. You know, it was just like so many empty, vacant spaces. And so that just shows you like the ratio. There were 2 or 3 buildings of boys, of men. And so it was just like the ratio was completely off. You know, there's always the comments and the sexualizing, and a lot of the instructors just didn't pay much attention to us as women, you know, because they underestimated, or they felt we weren't as adequate. Or I can only speak for me. They felt I wasn't as adequate at first, until I sat down to take my exam, and boom, I wasn't doing the best in class because I didn't really understand their teaching style, but I would sit the exams and pass them all, you know. And I got my AC, DC, digital, and I didn't get analog, but I didn't have time to take the exam. If I took that exam, I'm pretty sure I would have gotten analog. But I had to get all my basic electronic certifications, and they thought I wasn't gonna do it. So it wasn't until they saw me passing my exams, they were like, oh crap, like we really got to pay attention to her, you know. So now I'm putting my hands up, and instead of walking past me, they're like, oh yeah, what's going on? You know, now they're paying attention to me. I'm making waves now, you know. It felt good to be able to say I was the only female and I held my weight, you know. And then moving from there to my duty station at Fort Drum, once again, I was the only female in my shop. And please believe I was handling my business. You know what I mean? So, but I was handling my business and their business, and I didn't get the recognition for it. So I literally trained. There was a point in time where I was the only person working in my shop, in my section, literally handling every aspect. Like we had the inventory, we had me actually fixing the radios, and then we had me going through and dealing with all the different units coming to get their radios fixed. Like, so I was doing the clerical work, I was doing everything. And my sergeant, he would tell people, oh yeah, whatever you need. Mind you, he's a sergeant first class, and I was only a private second class, and then going into private first class. And he would tell people, oh yeah, if you need anything, she's the one in charge. That go to Nicole, go to Spence, not Nicole, but go to Spence. Spence got it. Spence is the one in charge. And while it felt good, it was times when, me, my mouth is not, I don't hold back, So I told him, it was one time I had to witness him give someone that came after I was handling the shop by myself. This guy comes and I train him. And after I train him and he starts to pick up and he's doing well, they gave him an award. While I had been there that whole time and never received any form of an award, any recognition other than, if you need something, go to Spence, she's in charge. You know what I mean? So they were quick to unload the responsibility, but not the recognition. So that's stuff that women have to deal with. Physically, I started going through some difficulties with my hip. I was having a lot of pain, and they basically wrote me off. They wrote it off as weakness instead of acknowledging that I actually had an issue. I just became another female who couldn't handle the physical, you know what I mean? So it was just like, I'm sitting there pleading with them. I'm like, listen, I can show you. I have the records to show you. My run time from basic training to the time that I reached to my duty station, I went from 22 minutes to 16 minutes. And that was all off of my muscle. You know what I mean? And me putting in the hard work. So when my time started to, increase again, and I was showing them, I'm like, see, it's not that I'm not putting in the work. I put the work in, I'm hurt. And it was just like, yeah, all right, you just weak. You doing what females do.
Chalk it up to being a woman.
Chalk it up to being a woman. And it's just like, it's sad to say though, that there were females that supported that narrative. And so it made it hard for me and the other ones who actually were trying, because they just kind of group us all in the same thing. And there was a point where I had to tell my chief, he would constantly compare me to his wife. Like, him and his wife were having issues, and he would be like, oh, here you go with your attitude. You're just like my wife. Oh, you and my... And I had to check him. I don't care about that rank on your chest. I pulled him into the office. I said, Chief, with all due respect, the next time you compare me to your wife, we will have an issue. Yeah, girl, me. My little 5'3" self, I don't care. I'm reckless with it, okay?
It gotta be said.
But I had to let him know. I'm like, look, whatever issues, like, all of them had so many issues at home, and they would bring it, and I was the only woman. So, they just resented me. And I'm like, whatever your wives at home do, whatever your mothers did, has nothing to do with me. You're not about to sit here and penalize me for your home life because you have a tainted view of women on a whole. That has nothing to do with me. I sit here, I put in the work. I give you the results you want. Put respect on mine. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of different issues, honestly. Like, you have a lot of egotistical men walking around. They have ranks on their chest and they have power. And a lot of them, unfortunately, they overuse it. Not to mention the sexual abuse that a lot of women that I know go through. They have worked on it and created avenues to where, it's supposed to be better. And it is better compared to what it was back in the day, you know, but it's still there. And I feel like I shouldn't be serving my country and have to be worrying about, you know, my sergeant or my superior using his power to get what he wants. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot. It's a lot that women go through in there. People don't even know. It's a lot, but it has a lot to do. We have to work not even twice, but 5 times as hard, 10 times as hard, just to prove ourselves. And God forbid we be Black. You know what I mean? It's even worse. And I don't even know if I want to get into that, but you know, there's a lot of people who, the thing with the Army, you have people from everywhere, all these different places. Some of them never saw Black people where they're from, you know? They come with their messed up mindsets, and some of them, they open up a little bit and they'll tell you, like, I've never been around Black people. I always had this image of you, or this is what I've always been told of you and about you. And now that I met you and now that I'm around you guys, like, you're actually cool, you know? Or you'll have the other ones who just are set in their ways. And you have to have the ones that are also pretending that they like you, but they really deep down in themselves don't, you know? They just see you as a means to an end, or you're their workhorse, you know, and you're their busting your ass 10 times, sorry for my language, busting your behind 10 times over, trying to prove yourself, you know? But really, they're just enjoying the fact that you're busting your behind because you're getting their work and their agenda done. You know what I mean? So it's just like, while you there thinking, oh yeah, they'll finally see me for who I am, this hard worker, they're just like, yeah, let him do the work. You know what I mean? And then when it comes time for the recognition, like I said, it's not there. So there's a lot of stuff that we face in the military as Black people on a whole, and as women especially.
Girl, you just summed it up so perfectly. And it's crazy, but I feel like these experiences, it's like it's in the military, it's in government, it's in education, it's in all the systems that we as Black people try to thrive in. And you ain't lying, not one single bit, not one single bit. But what was the food like?
You know, I get this question a lot, and I don't know how to answer it because we eat regular food. Like,
Really?
well, in training, you know, you have to eat from the cafeteria. The DFAC is what we call it. But I mean, it's like school food. It has its days. It's some days where you'll get something and you're just like, oh yeah, I like this. And then it's other days where it's like, oh, why do I have to eat this food? You know, I just want some regular food. I just want some something, you know. I need me some curry chicken. I don't know. What is this? But especially being Caribbean, it was torture during training because I'm like, no. You know, but I mean, after training, you have free range. Like, you could do whatever you want. It's just up to you to know if you're gonna spend that money to buy food there when you already have free food at the DFAC. I didn't eat the DFAC food after I got out of training. I bought groceries. I cooked my own food, you know. So
That's good. That's good. So what was or are the benefits of joining the Army worth it?
um I feel like that is subjective.
Mm.
You know, I feel like that is something that I tell people all the time. There are some people who can stay in the Army 10, 20 years and they're cool with it. There's people like me who just knew, okay, this is a means to an end. This is a stepping stool. I'm going to use it to help me get a little boost off the ground, you know? The medical benefits, as far as while you're in the Army, I honestly got to say, I didn't have a very good experience with the medical, and a lot of people that I know, especially Black people, don't have a very good experience in the medical field with the Army. That's a whole nother topic. Their agenda is first, and you're a piece of equipment to them, you know? And if you break, they're just gonna replace you. So keep that in mind. You know, if you go into the military, don't overexert yourself trying to prove something to them. That's what I had to realize, like, okay, these people, you bust your behind for them, but they really don't care. You know what I mean? And once you break,
You're not gonna get the recognition.
exactly, and you're gonna get kicked to the curb, like period. So for me, it was just survival until I could get out. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of good benefits. You know, for example, you have the VA loan with the housing. You know, you can buy a house once you get out. The educational benefits. That's, if anything, if school is your thing, I feel like it's a very good stepping stone to have. It's a very good option, you know. Is it worth it? Like I said, subjective. Everybody has different values. Everybody has different values. For me, I value family. I value freedom. I value a lot of things that went against me being in the military. And so for me, it was torture. But for the next person, I have friends who are like, I love it here because they value stability more than anything else. You know, for me, stability is fine, but I'll sleep on the floor as long as I know that I got my people around me, or, you know, it's different. So my answer would have to be, it all depends on what you value.
That's awesome. I love that answer. What are your fondest experiences about joining the Army?
The people that I met. You know, I met some of my best friends now in the military, people that are solid. You know, there's a lot of people that aren't, but there's a lot of people that are. And I've been lucky enough to have met a couple people who I can say, you know, we had great times together. I expected a little bit more camaraderie than I experienced, but I'm grateful for what I did get. You know, like I had a whole new family, you know, people you got up and saw every day, and y'all just had no choice but to make the best of it, you know? And the jokes and the laughter, and I loved going to the field. Being out in the field was fun to me. It was more to do than just sitting in the shop and fixing radios, you know, like I actually got to go out and, you know, wearing full kit, or, you know, just out there. Just, I'm a tomboy. So being out there for me was like, yeah, we're doing something now. We actually, you know, get to have the full experience. For a lot of the other females, it was like, oh my God, it's the field. Oh my God, I gotta be out there. I can't shower. I can't this, you know, but it's just learning. My fondest memories had to be learning how to adjust and adapt to any situation, and being able to joke and laugh while you're going through something that other people would probably cry about, you know?
That's, yeah. So how would you describe your experience in America? I know we touched on this a little bit, but like as an Afro-Caribbean or as a Caribbean American, how?
We're all feeling it, you know? We're all going through it. It's stuff that we experience, whether it's subtle or it's not. We all experience it at some point in some way. And even if it's not direct, it's systemic, like we said, systemic racism. Unfortunately, being in Caribbean, they love our culture, but they don't love our skin. And so it's just like, you don't know who looks at you as a Caribbean or Afro-Caribbean or whatever, Caribbean American, and who looks at you as just Black, you know? So it's just like, there's that. But differently, on a different note though, there were times where it was hard for me to find the balance. You know, we talked about having the best of both worlds, but there were a lot of times where it's like, I'm not American enough, but I'm not Jamaican enough. You know what I mean? And it's just that middle ground. It's just like, okay, well, where do I belong? Who do I claim? You know what I mean? What am I? But I had to just learn to embrace both, you know? You're always going to have the people that tell you you're not enough, but they're like, oh, because I get it every day now. Oh, you ain't Jamaican. Yo, you wasn't born there. Oh, you don't know this. Oh, you don't know that. Oh, you went to school here. You don't even have. And I'm just like, there's a lot of Jamaicans that'll say differently, because a lot of Jamaicans don't even know that I was born here. You know what I mean? If I didn't tell you, you would have had no clue. So, and then there are the Americans who are just like, you know, American way of life and living and thinking is completely different. So they'll just be like, oh, you Jamaican, you don't know. And I'm like, I was born here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm American. Like, what do you want from me? So it's just really that balance that's difficult.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr.
No,
FedEx right here.
no, you're good. I definitely understand that, like finding that balance. I remember like when I came up here to America for the first time, and I was just like, yo, this is a whole culture shock. I don't know how to be. I don't know if being myself is acceptable. And like in high school, it was a whole adapting period. And eventually I got it towards the end, like last couple of semesters of 11th grade going on to 12th. I feel like I got it. But still, sometimes it's like the balance of your Caribbean identity in America.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But like you said, embracing both is the key.
Yeah, and it helps because it's like I'm able to go around Americans and talk about American things and, you know, be passionate about it just as much as I'm able to go around Jamaicans and talk about the same. And I've always, I appreciate my parents because they made sure I was educated. My dad was like my dad was very pro-Black, and at the time I was like, this man is low-key racist. But I didn't understand then. You know, now I understand with everything that's going on. It's like pro-Black this, pro-Black that. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. So he made sure I knew about my culture. You know, he made sure he taught me. I probably know more stuff about, you know, Jamaican history than actual Jamaicans know. You know, like it's just like being an American and not knowing all the history. You know what I mean? But other people know your history because they study American history. So it's just like he bought the books and you know, put me onto the music. Like he'd sit me down and we'll listen to Bob Marley and he'll talk to me about it, you know. Or he taught me about Marcus Garvey. I was that person every time we were doing like school reports or anything, and everybody else was doing Rosa Parks and all these other people. I was the one doing Marcus Garvey, you know, because I needed them to know how he influenced the American movement. And everything is connected, you know what I mean? So it's just like things were happening here and things were happening in Jamaica, and Jamaicans are very much involved in US history. So I was always the one bringing the knowledge to the other people about the connection between the Caribbean and the US. And it's a good place to be able to have both, you know?
For sure. For sure. So to those thinking about joining the Army, what would be your advice? What would be your caution? What would be like your takeaway?
At first, I was like, I'd never tell anyone to join the Army. But my advice would be go in, get what you need, and get out. If you feel like that's your only option, go in, get. I would go more for the Air Force or the Navy, you know, like people were telling me at first, only because of the physical requirements. But if you like the physical activity, by all means. If you like the challenge, do so. But I just self-preservation is important, and it's very easy to lose yourself when you go in the Army, as well as put their agenda above your own. So try your best to maintain your balance. It's hard. They're gonna tell you that what you're doing is not as important as what their mission is. But try to keep yourself as much as possible. Change, adapt, grow, be who you need to be to get through it. But at the same time, don't let yourself go. You know, hold on to you and your personality for sure. It's gonna be hard, but hold on to it. There's a lot of people walking around in the military. My whole unit had to go to behavioral health, which is basically mental health therapy. And you just gotta stay, whatever grounds you, you gotta hold on to it. Whether it's family, whatever. It's easy to get isolated. It's easy to feel lost in the abyss of what they got you doing. But trust me, hold on to yourself.
I love that. I love that. Because I mean, like you said, it's programming. And so if you completely assimilate to everything that they tell you to do and everything that they tell you to be, by the time you come out of it, it's like, who are you? I don't remember who or what I am. I'm just a soldier, you know? And so I totally understand that. So, where is your relationship with God at this time? I know you said in the Army, it strengthened your relationship with God, but right now, being out of it, where is, at this point in your life, where are you with God at?
It's been an up and down. It's been a journey, you know, because at that time, like I said, he was all I had to hold on to. I had no phone. I had no nothing. I had no choice, you know? And it's been different times in my journey where it's like, he's all I had, and that's what I clung to for dear life. Then there's times when I didn't, like, I'm not gonna say I felt I didn't need him, but you know, sometimes we get comfortable and we start just living so much. I went into depression, you know, there were multiple moments during my career where it was just like, all right, I'm sinking, you know what I mean? And then I would like reach my hand out, and he was always there, you know, because never was there a time where he wasn't. Different moments in my life, but right now, it's like I'm close, but I'm not close enough. I never feel like I'm close enough, but right now I feel like I'm struggling with I love God and I care so much about my relationship with him, but I'm struggling with the religion part. You know, like I don't want to say I'm questioning, but I'm questioning. And it's okay, you know. There's different moments where, and it's okay to also, you know, be curious about what else is out there other than what you've been taught, you know. But I love God. Like, I can't stress that enough. I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, you know, I don't know. I believe a lot of things, but I also disagree with a lot of things, you know? And I've also watched the church literally change before my eyes. You know what I mean? In multiple ways. So religion, I'm a little shaky on right now, but God, there's never a question. There's never a doubt. He brought me through everything, and he deserves the highest praise, and he will receive that from me always. You know, sometimes I have to remember to stop trying to do it all alone. You know, I'll reach points and I feel like now I look at the difficult moments as a reminder, like, hey, ma'am, you think you got it, but you really don't. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you still need me, you know? So I feel like that's all it is. Like, when we go through things, I feel like God is just kind of reminding us, like, well, for me, I know my issue, like I said, I'm very meticulous. Like, everything has to be this way, and I want this and I want that. And I'm just like, you know, trying my best to like create this life for myself, because I felt like so much was out of my control, you know, when I was younger. So I turn into a control freak, and I try to control everything, but it's not in my hands, you know, it's not in my hands. And a lot of times I go through stuff and God is just reminding me, like, you need me, you know? So that's where I'm at right now. Just constantly reminding myself not to do it by myself.
That's amazing. Thank you for being so very open and honest and sharing thus far. I really do appreciate that. So right now, at this point in your life, what brings you the most joy?
I didn't think about this. My peace. My peace brings me the most joy. Like, I've gone through so much, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, and I'm just my peace. Like, I can't, nothing else brings me more joy than being able to say, God got me and I'm good. Like, you know, I went through all this at this time, you know, I'm great now. Being around my family again, you know, having them close by if I need something, or if I'm feeling down or isolated, I don't have to remain isolated, you know. I have, my mom is right there, my little brother is right there. So it's just those are the things that are important to me, and that's what brings me joy.
That's awesome. That is amazing. And that's the fruit of the spirit, so you know that God is with you. Okay. But I just want to piggyback on the previous question. I know you mentioned religion. What is it about religion that has probably turned you away from it? And what is it that, you know, kind of made you just want to focus on your personal walk with God as opposed to the religious? I don't want to say constrict, because it's constricted for some and, you know,
Yeah, you're
freedom
right.
for others.
I don't want my phone to die on us. Honestly, I don't know. I've always kind of questioned some things, you know, because in my mind, it's like every religion says that they're the right religion. So at what point, you know, how do you know, right? And then we do the fact checks, and we go in the Bible and we're like, okay, this is the reason why we're the right religion. But every religion has their scriptures that they associate with their fundamentals, you know? So it's easy to go through and pick and choose what it is that you want to, what it is that you want to pick and choose out the Bible, right? Or whatever book, you know? And also, me knowing the influence that the Catholic and the white, you know, the white influence on our religion, or why we even turn to religion, it raises it. And honestly, it's not the first time. Even when I was younger, you know, I had questions, and nobody could really give me answers other than because that's what it says, you know, because this is what it is. And I'm just like, you sure? I'm very curious. I like to question things, you know. Even if I know I have my beliefs, I still I'll question my own beliefs, you know, all the time, because I'm always searching. I'm always looking for answers. I can't give you one thing that made me kind of turn away from religion, but you know, people, I don't want to say people, because I don't care. My relationship with God has nothing to do with you and your antics. You know, it's just the picking and choosing for me of what you want to listen to. The picking and choosing of what you want to put out there. The influencing that you're trying to do, you know, with the people by using the scripture. It's just like, you don't get to condemn me or anyone for that matter. Conviction is real. And if I feel within myself that what I'm doing isn't right, like me and God come to the conclusion that, okay, this ain't it. If you're
Yeah, the
really
connection is cutting off a bit.
With God, your relationship with God is strong of Him. You get what I'm saying? Enough on that. You know, I don't have such good connection on my patio, and then now that I need it, it's not there. Let's see. Is there any plugs out here? Man, I don't know. Like, it's just, for me, like I said, I don't know what you didn't hear, but I was saying it's just a picking and choosing for me that doesn't fit right. You can hear me?
I didn't hear that last part, but
I was saying it's the like the picking and choosing of what they want to use to influence people. You know, that's what it is for me.
No, I understand that perspective for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of things. A lot of things. I don't know if you heard when I said like the whole me knowing the influence of like the Catholic Church on the Bible. Things were taken out, you know, things were added, and I just feel like we don't have the whole picture. We might not be off like by very far, but I think there are things missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure. Okay, so last and final question. Thank you so much for sticking out with me thus far. It's been an amazing conversation. So we're going to do this thing called I Just Want to Leave You with This. So this can be a little inspirational quote, a book that you want to recommend, a podcast you want to recommend, something that's helped you through your life and through your journey that you just think, or even a spontaneous word that you just want to give to people to encourage them along their journey. I just want to leave you with this.
Okay. I just want to leave you with this. Live your life to, I'm not going to say to your liking, but, you know, don't let fear stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Don't let fear stop you from achieving things. And this goes to myself as well. You know, fear is it's crippling, you know, because it prevents you from doing things that could take you far.
That's amazing. I love that.
No. God did not grant you a spirit of fear at all.
Exactly. I love that so very much. I think that you are so right in that the minute that we defeat fear, the minute that we trust God fully and believe Him fully, that we do not need to have fear for anything that we go through in this world, then that's when we begin to see the fullness of what God has in store for us. And that's when we begin to truly thrive in the areas that He has called us to. And getting rid of fear is a big part of our journey, especially spiritually. And so that is amazing. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I hear you now. I don't know if it
Okay.
was cut out.
Okay. But yes, thank you so much for joining me on Let's Talk It Out. It has been an amazing conversation, Nicole Spence. I appreciate you and I love
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Of
I love
course.
you too.
Of course. Enjoy the rest of your day, and just thank you for talking about everything and just being so open and being so honest. I, just on all the questions that you answered, you gave amazing insight that, I didn't have on what it's like to be in the Army, amazing insight on where you are in your life and just where you're going. And I'm so very excited for what the future holds for you. And yes.
Thank you. Same to you. Keep it up. I love seeing your inspirational videos. Every morning I get greeted with a smile by Casey. And it helps. I know at first it might seem like nobody's listening or nobody's paying attention. It's important.
Honestly, I'm just trying to help somebody along their journey. So I really do appreciate that, you found it helpful and inspirational. That's all I'm trying to do. And have a great and wonderful day. I really do appreciate you.
You too, beautiful. Bye.
Bye.